Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. The question before the Supreme Court was a challenge to the constitutional validity of an act passed by the legislature taking away the fundamental rights in an state. The precise issue was whether any part of the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution could be abrogated or changed by a constitutional amendment, even if it was passed by the requisite two-thirds majority of Parliament as provided for in Article 368. Earlier, in Sankaria Prasad Singh versus Union of India, AIR 1951 SC 458, a constitutional bench of 5 judges had unanimously held that Parliament had unfettered power to amend the constitution, and in Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan, AIR 1965 SC 845, the court had upheld the power of Parliament to amend any part of the Constitution, including one affecting the fundamental rights of citizens. The law in question in the instant case, with in view of reforming land ownership and tenancy structures, implementing the socialistic goals of the Constitution, Article 39B and C of the Directive Principles of State Policy that required equitable distribution of resources of production among all citizens and prevention of concentration of wealth in the hands of a few. This was opposed to the fundamental right to acquire, hold, and dispose of property, Article 19F and Article 31, wherein one could not be deprived of his property unless it was acquired by the state and for public purposes only, upon payment of compensation determined by the law. There were multifarious arguments from both these sides. The petitioners contended the Constitution was intended to be permanent and therefore could not be amended in a way so as to injure, maim, or destroy its indestructible character. The word amendment implied an addition or change within the lines of the original instrument, as would effect an improvement or better carry out the purpose for which it was framed, and could not be so construed as to enable the Parliament to destroy the permanent character of the Constitution. The fundamental rights were a part of the basic structure of the Constitution, and therefore the power of amendment could be exercised only to preserve rather than destroy the essence of those rights. The limitations on the power to amend were implicit in Article 368 itself, as the use of words such as repeal and reenact in other articles meant that the expression amend had a limited meaning. This indicated that Article 368 only enabled a modification of the articles within the framework of the Constitution and not a destruction of them. The Constituent Assembly debates, particularly the speech of Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru and the reply of Dr. Ambedkar, who piloted the bill, disclosed clearly that it was never the intention of Constitution framers to enable the Parliament to repeal the fundamental rights by use of the power under Article 368. The circumstances under which the amendment moved by Mr. H.V. Kamath, one of the members of Constituent Assembly, was withdrawn and Article 368 was finally adopted, clearly showed that amendment of Part 3rd was outside the scope of Article 368. Part 3rd of the Constitution was a self-contained code and its provisions were elastic enough to meet all reasonable requirements of changing situations. Therefore, no amendment was warranted for them. Article 368 only lays down the procedure to amend, but the power to amend is only the legislative power conferred on the Parliament under Articles 245, 246 and 248 of the Constitution. The definition of law in Article 13(2) of the Constitution includes every branch of law, statutory or constitutional, and therefore the power to amend in whichever branch it may be classified if it takes away or abridges the fundamental rights would be void thereunder. Stop. Thank you.